Rusted Moss is a Metroidvania twin-stick shooter developed by Happy Squared and Sunny Day Studios, along with a few others, and published by Playism and WSS Playground. It takes place in a world of fae, magic, machines, and chaos, all focused around your character Fern. You roam a giant map with free range to go to any place you can make it to with your handy grappling hook, gain upgrades for it throughout to advance to new places and take out mini-bosses and incredible main bosses that are all unique in combat style. Not only are the bosses different from one another, every area has its own hazards and a specific type of enemy to go along with a gun that's hidden about. There aren't as many guns as there are areas, but the main areas house the guns in hidden sections, and they match the enemy's weapons from that area. Just wanted to point that out to stop confusion. Anyway, there's a lot to talk about here, so let's jump right into it. The guns, as I just mentioned, are all unique in style. There are 6. The railgun, which fires a charged burst, and the pistol, which fires a saw blade after you release the trigger at full charge, are the first 2 guns I encountered. The railgun is what you start with, and the pistol is hidden in the starting area. The other weapons like the rocket launcher and shotgun can be found later and actually assist in traversal with their recoil. It's a simple mechanic, but really fun once you get the hang of it. The last 2 are the sniper rifle and the bolt thrower, which both do as their name suggests. One is a sniper and has a longer range than the other weapons. It also fires with a charged shot like the railgun and launches you in the air with its recoil. The bolt thrower, well, throws bolts and has 20 shots before you have to wait a minute for it to recharge. The map is extremely well designed when it comes to a challenging aspect. Each area you can get to starting off has its own hazards and unique enemies that match the environment. The snow area has ice-based machine gun enemies, and the windy chain-ridden area has saw blade enemies, and so on and so forth. Each of the prospective bosses for the areas match the environment as well. One of my favorite bosses, Freya, looks like a 2D Doc Ock and uses saw blades as her primary weapon, along with other minor weapons, but you get the point. As you gain new abilities and can advance further into the map, the areas increase in challenge very nicely. Starting with the simple use the basic grapple to get around to a more advanced version with a retraction type function needed to maneuver the map. The physics for the grapple are perfect as well, making every swing and sling super satisfying. There are also a few other traversal objects like these little gold orbs that look like coins. They bounce you back into the air and allow for a second grapple without having to hit the ground first. And these grapple points that make clearing large gaps require extreme precision. Since I'm on the subject of precision, I wouldn't recommend playing this one with the controller. I'm not saying it's impossible, it's just incredibly challenging when you get to those grapple points I mentioned, or try to do the speed climb challenges that are all across the map. The climbing challenges are offered by a few different characters and grant you a nice new trinket to add to your collection, or some shiny silver to spend at the shop. Speaking of trinkets, they can boost your ability or make the game more challenging to allow for a few extra trinket slots. The number of them that you can have equipped is limited, so you have to choose wisely. Although you can increase that number by either making the game harder on yourself with no HUD or one-hit death, or finding hidden backpacks. Mixing and matching for certain bosses is the only way I was able to get through the game, so I feel they did a really good job making them feel necessary and not a waste of time. There are 3 different game modes. Flexible, which gives you access to the accessibility options, like making the difficulty change the more times you die or the further you make it without dying. Normal, which, well, is normal. And Speedrun, which has a timer down in the bottom right and has a few different target times for the different endings. I haven't attempted a full speedrun yet, but I did try it out, and I think the goal times are reasonable. That being said, I did spend 13 hours on the game for my first playthrough, but that was with reading absolutely everything I could find. Moving on, the enemies are fairly repetitive to start out, but increase in variety after a boss or two. I've said quite a bit about them already, but I would like to mention more about the bosses. This game isn't Hollow Knight difficult when it comes to them, but it's definitely up there. Some have 2 or 3 different stages too, really adding to the challenge. Going back to my favorite boss, as soon as I hit the end of her green health bar, she goes into what I'm gonna call God mode, because oh boy, did it take me a little bit to beat her. Instantly moving at super fast pace, even though the game is already really fast paced, if you're playing it right. It has a speedrun mode after all, so yeah. Anyway, she starts ramping out attack left and right, really gunning for you, and she's not the only one. Almost all of the bosses have at least 2 stages other than, so far, the very first boss you're supposed to encounter, which I didn't do until I already had 6 pieces of Titania. Since I brought it up, the whole goal of the game is to bring back the Fey Queen, Titania. The reason you have to defeat these bosses is because they each hold a piece of her, and you need to collect at least 5 before the seer is able to revive her. I will say the game got me good with the ending boss. I'm not going to spoil it, but if you plan on playing it, look forward to the final boss. The soundtrack was also perfectly picked out for this game. Every song feels subtle but noticeable, and matches the environments and tempo of the game. FERN, your character, is extremely rude throughout the game in a humorous way, for the most part. She's constantly laughing at people getting hurt and insulting everyone in sight, and her closest ally, Puck, also your grappling hook, is always trying to clean up after her insults. I will say I do have one pet peeve about the story. All the major plot points and small conversations with your sidekick are way too spread out. By the time I got from one conversation to another, I had already forgotten the majority of the prior. It really made it hard to follow along sometimes. That's basically my only issue with the game though. Just add a few more conversations with the sidekick and I'd be happy. Also, a journal or lore library wouldn't hurt. That's just my opinion. It's not really necessary to enjoy the game though. One more thing I haven't talked about yet is the community levels. Wow, are they difficult. I thought I was good at the game until I downloaded a few of those levels and oh boy was I wrong. I didn't even make it past the first section on 2 that I tried out. Anyway, there's a level editor on the game I wanted to mention. With as much as I enjoyed the climbing challenges and the speed of the game, the level editor makes perfect sense. I already talked about the community aspect, but yes, you can share any level you create on Steam and have your friends try it out. For anyone interested in buying the game, it's $20 and is currently in a Metroidvania bundle on Steam for $35. I haven't played any of the other 4 games in the bundle, but who doesn't like a nice game bundle that's well undervalued when it comes to price? I might play the entire game again later and do a spoilers story review, but until then, for more news, reviews, or whatever we choose, stay tuned to Nerdsfeed.